He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. This is the Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break on Volquest.com. And Grant, man, just kind of a pretty workman-like 24-point blowout today of a ranked opponent.
Chaz Lanier, I mean, what else can you say about the way that guy scores it, the way he consistently scores it, the way he consistently shoots it? That 7-0 run he had midway through the first half kind of changed things, put Tennessee up by 7, and it was on from there. Igor, what are you going to say about him? Milicic, 13 points, 18 rebounds, the most in the Rick Barnes era, the most in 10, 11 years for Tennessee basketball. And he's done that consistently.
Yep.
Everybody talking about Jonas coming into this game, all that stuff, his return, all that. But, I mean, Tennessee's transfer class took over the game, and that's the reason you blow that opponent out right there.
Yeah, and really, I mean, Chaz was great. I mean, 29 points. I mean, it was kind of a quiet 29, really, except for a couple of, splashy threes, but it wasn't like he just, had one of those outbursts. But, I mean, some good individual performances, but, man, 51-29 in the rebounding department. That is that's one of those games where there's some guys in the Arkansas locker room that aren't looking their teammates in the eyes after getting whipped like they did out here.
I mean, John Calipari called it manhandled. He said they worked on rebounding the last 3 days before coming into this game, and it still happened the way it happened. 23 offensive rebounds.
Massive.
The most in I don't know how long. I think 28 is the record, but 23 offensive rebounds. And Arkansas's got size.
Yeah.
It was just effort and getting manhandled.
And they've got athleticism too. I mean, they may be overranked at 23, but still, Tennessee just took them apart today,
right.
and didn't look that great. I mean, Tennessee shot 39% from the field, and
they had similar shooting percentages, the two teams, but Tennessee got 16 more shots because of those 23 offensive
and Tennessee was a little sloppy in the first half, turnover-wise, really cleaned that up in the second. But you're right. I mean, it was, first 8-10 minutes, it felt like it was going to be a competitive game. It's cruising along. It's 12-12, and then boom, Chaz hits a couple of threes, and Tennessee kind of shows you the formula. I mean, because of him, I don't think they're going to have a lot of scoring droughts. I mean, they're not going to be perfect, but man, when they start stringing stops together on people like they did today, and it's kind of like a snake choking the life out of you slowly.
Everybody wants to compare Chaz and Dalton, two very different scorers,
very much.
The way they want to score the basketball, but how consistently and how easily they score the basketball. I mean, that 7-0 run was in a little over a minute. I think a minute and 10 seconds.
Yep.
And that third shot, the three from the wing, was up so quick. I mean, that's a bad shot for 99.9% of the population, but Chaz Lanier makes those kind of shots. He's got that kind of quick release, and he scores in bunches. He sees one go in, and it's almost over for him.
And man, I think what's helping him, and I think we saw this with Dalton last year too. I mean, I think when you're a new guy, your natural tendency, you don't want to rock the boat too much. You don't want to maybe take 4 shots in a row down court.
Right.
And I think Dalton got past that, and his teammates got him past that, and I think you're seeing it now. Like Zakai's like, yeah, hey, take 5 in a row, take 6 in a row.
If you're going to miss 10 shots a game, that's fine, because Igor's going to grab 10 rebounds a game. I mean, that's what they've been that's what they've got out of this transfer class. And it turns out, surprise, surprise, Arkansas basketball is just as volatile under John Calipari as Kentucky basketball was, because they're going to have one of the most talented rosters in the country. You just never know what you're going to get.
And they're going to play a lot of one-on-one basketball, like you saw today.
Right.
They had 8 assists in a 40-minute game, and you saw really just two different. And again, Cal's in his first year, but I mean, Rick has a program, and this was a good example of what Tennessee basketball is about. They didn't shoot the ball that great, they didn't look flashy, and they beat Arkansas by 24 points.
I mean, a month ago I was sitting there in New York watching that Arkansas-Michigan game that followed the Tennessee-Miami game, and Boogie Flan was going off, and DJ Wagner was going off, and Adu Thero's been going off all season. I kept thinking, man, that's going to be a tough team to handle. Those guys really didn't do anything. I mean, DJ Wagner scored early. Boogie Flan was pretty good. Adu Thero was not good, and he kind of does everything for Arkansas. That's what Tennessee basketball is: the physicality of the defense, just taking guys out of games.
Yep, and they need this one. I mean, it's going to get tough in a hurry.
Yes.
It's at Florida on Wednesday, at Texas next weekend, and we're going to be saying that a lot this year. I mean, I don't know that there is any easy road trips, and you got to hold serve. If you're going to compete for the title, you got to hold serve at home. Tennessee did that today in pretty easy fashion.
14-0, tied for the best start in school history, 19-22.
And that was a 14-game season, wasn't it?
I think it was a 17-game season, but the same applies. Going to Florida, that's going to be a completely different animal. Like if they come out there with a win, then I don't know when they're going to lose, because that's going to be a really tough environment, really tough team.
And
Florida lost at
they're not going to want to start 0-2
in
league play,
sure.
so that's going to be, and that's always a tough place to play, even when they're not very good, and they are very good this year. So going to be a wild year, but Tennessee put his best foot forward today, off to a 1-0 start. Half the league won't be able to say that tomorrow. He's Grant Ramey. I'm Rob Lewis. This has been the Exterior Home Solutions Fast Break on Volquest.com.